Hello and welcome to Altered Geek Unlimited, episode 83. I'm your host, Steve Megatron Phillips, and joining me this week are...
TF2 and Mike.
Mike Booth Ninja Powers.
Mike the Birdman Todd! Hello.
And the most tired one is the loudest one.
I know, right? Sleep is for the weak.
That's usually what happens when you're sleep deprived. You become obnoxious.
It's true.
So that's basically why a 2-year-old ends up like that. So I'm comparing Dodd to a 2-year-old.
Fucking A. I'm young at heart. And deprived of sleep. That's okay. Actually, it would make you guys really sad. Speaking of me being a child, I'm actually having milk and cookies at this very moment.
Are they Reese's Oreos?
They are... What the fuck are these? These are Chips Ahoy, motherfuckers.
So not Reese's Oreos. So
Not Reese's Oreos. My God, I need to find those.
they're yummy.
Oh, Canada, please get more stuff to make my ass fat.
I also have Chewy Chips Ahoy Reese's.
Oh,
Those are
I have-
horrible. I tried those. I cannot stand them.
I love them. I like it.
I have leftover Easter candy that was from the store at a very, very high discount. So I have the Nerds eggs, like jelly bean.
Yeah.
I have those. I have sweet tarts. I have M&Ms. I have all kinds of candy.
speaking
And
of
it's all
Easter,
on my
how was
desk.
everybody's Easter? Did anybody do anything cool or?
I unpacked.
I came across a rather interesting thought, probably once again stemming from being sleep deprived. If you think about the fact that Jesus died and came back this past weekend, so to speak, if you think of it as a 1930s crime drama and say Jesus got whacked, I don't know why, but I found that incredibly funny. I remember cackling in the bathroom for a good 10 minutes when I thought about that the other Sunday morning. I
So
haven't
you
slept
lost
a
your
lot
shit.
this week.
I just like wishing everybody Happy Zombie Day. Just keep religion out of it.
Oh,
So is the Easter Bunny dead then?
Sure.
undead.
He's undead?
He's like the eye zombie.
And he brings you eggs that are...
Chock full of
Spreading.
brains.
Yes. Spreading the virus.
Oh, God. Why am I now flashing to, here's an egg. This is your brain. This is your brain on drugs.
This is your brain on brains.
Browns.
How was your Easter, Dodd?
I'm trying to remember what the hell I did actually. I sat around and watched almost every DC animated movie ever. Not because I was bored. I spent this past weekend preparing for this weekend, if that makes any sense, for tabletop day. So I spent the weekend reading Mutants and Masterminds and DC Adventures from Green Ronin Publishing, the tabletop role-playing game, and playing a lot of Call of Duty. I'm on my 15th Prestige, and Dragon Ball Xenoverse. It was a good damn time.
15th Prestige?
Yep, I'll be Grandmaster probably by the end of the night.
Oh, jeez. I've played almost all of them, and I've never prestiged in any of them.
Ain't nobody can touch this motherfucker.
I can't.
I'm good.
I can't bring myself to do it. I invest so much time playing it to get to the highest level before you can prestige. I'm like, I'm not doing that shit all over again.
Yeah, I can't believe I've done it 15 times. And I've spent so much money on supply drops. Thank God I get a lot of my points, I used to get a lot of points from Microsoft, so it doesn't hurt so bad. But still, I'm hoping to get good enough to start playing competitively, at least on a local level, so gotta keep my skills sharp.
Everyone's got to have a goal.
Exactly, gotta have a goal. If I'm gonna put this much time into it, might as well see if I can make a little bit of money at it. think the last tournament that was held, I think there was a $25,000 grand prize. Hell, if I get out of pools, I'll be happy. Yes! That was my weekend.
Sweet. For me, had Easter, had the kid get his basket, and he actually had to look around the house for it, which he thought was cool. And then this week, had to do the final performance of the group project of, or, you know, the partnered work of the scene that we had to choose, and came out a lot better than what I thought it was going to. Mostly because I'm playing a sarcastic guy that's killed a pigeon, and the other guy's supposed to be losing his shit over it. So that was funny. And then
are you doing some weird interpretation of Mice and Men?
No, this is a script that we got. I don't have a clue if it even correlates with that, but
If only you were actually killing a bat.
you know, you think you're funny with your referencing the eulogy thing, because I am doing that for my final like audition monologue thing that I have to do. I'm the only person in the class that knows his in its entirety so far. I'm also the only one that has, because we have to put together an acting resume type thing to show how to do it. I'm the only one that has that done too. So I would say I'm pretty straight for an A in the class at this point. And got all my classes all registered and everything for spring and fall, and doing cinema production next semester. So yay. But yeah, that's for the most part what I've been doing.
Nobody wants to hear what's been going on in my life. Seriously.
Curious about the bastard baby.
It's no.
So moving on.
No. Funny. I'll just say this. Having a war with your neighbors is not exactly fun at all.
It is if you're good at winning.
Well, yeah, but that's not the point.
Or in college.
Oh, God. You know what? Honestly, college kids would have more respect than these dumb friggin' people.
I wouldn't count on that.
Yeah,
No.
I was gonna say
Some would have more respect than these people.
they wouldn't be the ones living next to you.
At least college kids aren't popping out babies every 10 seconds.
That's debatable.
Yeah, that's it. He's got a point there. It depends on where you are.
So,
Location.
other than that, other than the war with the neighbors, I've just been getting stuff done for GCRN and other stuff. So, it's kind of been a slow week other than the war with the neighbors.
I finished my move to my new home on Saturday. We had everything over here by about noon, and then it was just my wife and I just kind of unpacking. We're slowly unpacking. We're basically shuffling boxes around the house until we get them somewhere where we want to leave them. But a couple of interesting things happened. I really like the game Amplitude by Harmonix. Came out in like 2003, 2004. It was like the precursor to Rock Band and Guitar Hero. And I had bought several copies of the game on PS2 throughout the years. And the last copy I bought, I thought I had lost it. And I was posting pictures of various games and stuff as I was putting them on my bookcase. And a friend asked me, I posted a couple of my Squaresoft games, and a friend asked me about Kingdom Hearts. And so I got out my remix copy of Kingdom Hearts, and then I got out my original copy of Kingdom Hearts on the PS2, and I took a picture of them and sent them to her. I said, regular or enhanced? And just on a whim, I opened up the Kingdom Hearts box for the PS2, and out falls my Amplitude disc, which I haven't seen in like, I don't know, 8 years. And I have no idea how it wound up in the Kingdom Hearts disc. So I grabbed my PS2 and hooked it all up and found out that I was only able to find 2 of my 4 memory cards, which makes me kind of sad. But man, it prompted me to go buy component cables for my PS2, which at one point I had, but for some reason they seem to have disappeared. But that picture was so fuzzy. So that was a fun, nice little trip down memory lane. Plus, I was able to like look at what was on the 2 memory cards that I had, and I was pretty happy with the save files that were on there. I had some old Harvest Moon, some NHL games. My original Metal Gear Solid save file was on there. My save file from Need for Speed High Stakes from 1998 was on there. So that was fun. And then, and less interesting side note, I spent I had Comcast come out like a week ago, and they set everything up for me, and I came on the show and I talked about how I was having like good experience with them and whatnot. Well, the first part of this has nothing to do with them. It has more to do with my own experience. I kept getting weird like speed readings from my wireless devices in my own house when I was like, I don't know, 10 feet away from my router. Mm-hmm. I would get a quarter of the speed that I was paying for, and I was like, I cannot figure this out. And every once in a while it would give me like this huge, I'd get like 100% of what I was paying for. And then like I'd run like a test like 2 minutes later and it'd be back down to a quarter of what I was getting. And it would do that across all my devices. And it took me a while to figure out what it was. And then I found out, because I'm across the street from from 2 schools, each school has 4 wireless networks inside of it. So there's 12 wireless networks across the street, and my neighbors have some super powerful ass router right next to me, and the neighbor on the other side of me has a router, and all routers come default set to broadcast on the same channel.
Oh no.
And so my router, even being 10 feet away from me, was having trouble maintaining a proper connection, fighting through all the other routers around me that were on the same channel. So after a little bit of research, I discovered that that's what the issue was, and I swapped it so that I don't automatically search for the best channel. I just have it set. I found a tool that lets me see all the wireless networks around me and what channel they're all running on. And so I just jumped to a channel that they're not on, and I fixed the problem in a heartbeat. Which it was just an interesting learning experience for me, because in all the time I've spent with internet and dealing with wireless stuff, I've never run into wireless congestion. So that was a fun little expedition for me. But other than that, the move's been going fine, and I saw Furious 7 on Monday, but everyone's been talking to death about that, so that's about all I've got. Oh, real quick, the problem I'm having with Comcast right now is I can't get HBO Go to work. And I feel like a first world problem tool when I call up and complain about it, because I'm not talking to, someone that speaks English. Calling him up and be like, dude, my HBO Go is not working. Well, the guy's probably worrying about where his next meal is coming from. Like, I just feel so bad when I call up. I'm going to keep calling until I get it working, but it's the biggest pain in the ass. Like, part of me just feels guilty for making the phone call in the first place.
Reminds me of an episode of an old Disney Channel show where these characters go to find peace and enlightenment up at this Swami's temple or whatever else, and he has a call center there, and he goes and says, "Thank you for calling customer support. My name is Steve. How may I help you?"
That's pretty much what it's like. They all have like an American name, but they're not American. But so
my name is Joseph, and I am here to help you.
Yeah. This is probably the worst customer
experience. I'm not taking place in all this racist stuff. It's
probably the worst customer experience I've had personally with Comcast, and it's not. I mean, I honestly think it's partially on my end because like the first guy I talked to said for whatever reason I needed to have an active cable box on my account, which might be true, but then that same guy told me he was going to go ahead and activate HBO Go on my account without said cable box.
Interesting.
I've worked for the cable company before. I've actually worked for Comcast, but in their other division for modems and shit. So if the software is the same as I think it should be, probably, I can see how he would have told you that, and he may be right from a settings point of view. It's how their system interprets how your account's set up. So not necessarily his fault. It's how he's trained, and the trainers for Comcast are idiots. I know from working in
people
the call center
are idiots.
For years.
Well, I'm just saying he did it. He says he enabled it, but I'm still not able to access it. And he passed me off to the internet side of things so that they could help me, which wasn't any help at all. And they said somebody would call me back, and they still haven't called me back. So I mean, I'll call again probably tomorrow if I get bored enough to call and complain again. But at this point, I'm just kind of like, why do I not just go get HBO now? So.
Although calling and complaining, you'll probably get something. In fact, speaking of the cable company, literally 10 minutes before we started the show tonight, I got off the call with my cable company, Rogers, and normally I pay probably about $200 something a month for cable and internet.
Holy crap.
And phone.
Holy crap.
Yeah, I'm paying $50 this month because I talked them down.
That's still...
Canadian internet is bullshit.
I don't think... Personally, we talked about the deal that I've got with Comcast last week. I don't think they can give me a better deal than what I've got. So
there always is, because if you go to a little place called Retention, they will bend over backwards for you if
No, they
you
won't.
say, I'll leave.
No, they won't.
They won't.
Not anymore. Comcast tells you, well, it's nice been having you as a customer.
Wow, your cable companies fucking suck.
I just know that I got them down to $75 a month for what I got. So I don't think you can get much cheaper than that.
$29.99
for what I got.
I know. But no, I finally got my freaking billing issue figured out. But it took me submitting a claim to the Better Business Bureau for them to start contacting the shit out of me. So, mind you, this is over like $30 or $40. This is just it's just a minute thing, but it's the fact that my bill has not been what my promotion price was since sign up, and it's been almost 5 months now. So, I just was getting tired of getting shafted because I still calculate that we've paid probably $60 over that still, but I'm letting it slide just because they managed to give us the other amounts. Because what happened is the initial is they started throwing our money in a different random account when we were paying the bill. And then they said, oh, you've paid your bill. And then their system decides, oh, it's rejected because it's not in the right account. And then they charged me return fees and all kinds of other fees. So it was fighting to get that crap reversed. And finally, I got my bill straightened out. So, and then their retention is a joke. Their phone line is a joke most of the time. This guy, I got it done through an email, but it took like 5 days to get a reply. Twitter, you're looking at a week to get a reply for issues, whereas they used to be really good about it, but they're always backlogged now. So, I mean, I hate Comcast as far as like they're getting their promotions and billing correct, but their service works great when it works.
Yeah.
In the case of your situation.
Well, I mean, I'm not really worried about it because, like I said, I can always just go sign up for HBO now and say F them. But I'm supposed to have a year of HBO included in my service, so I might as well try to get it working rather than paying another $15.
I think I'm going to try and scam my cable company to give me HBO probably on Saturday. Because I have to send a technician out to my house again to replace a faulty box. I kind of wonder if I could maybe get a little bit more out of them. But I'm evil like that.
Yeah,
I
thought so too.
I always just call them up and tell them what I want and say you can take it or leave it, and for whatever reason, I always get it.
But you spend money, I don't. You get their premier internet.
Well, I give them a choice. I'm like, I can either give you, $90 or I can give you 60. Well, how much do you want me to pay you? Is basically what I tell them, and it's their choice if they want to leave money on the table or they can give me what I want. So
anyways, moving on.
Yay!
Who wants to go first?
I know Dodd does.
I know he does.
What am I going first for? Just random news stories?
Aliens.
Aliens. Okay, so earlier this week, NASA scientists were talking, and they said, considering the way things are going...
NASA scientists talk?
All the time, but surprisingly nobody listens. They were saying, considering all the recent discoveries and how things have been changing in the field of extraplanetary sciences, they say there's probably a good chance we're going to discover life in our solar system, probably by 2020 or 2025. They found traces of stuff on Mars. There's pretty good evidence that there's a liquid ocean under Europa and Ganymede and Io. So it's not going to be complex life like ours, like multicellular, but there's a good chance we're going to find something. And if we find that...
Space fish.
Then who knows what else is out there. Yeah, I mean, who knows what's under the oceans of these planets. Space fish, man, I can only imagine what life might look like developing under different gravity or different types of radiation, different kind of minerals that would be present. I mean, it may not be carbon-based life as we know it. It could be silicon-based life for all we know. Joking. There's so many interesting possibilities for things that are out there, and it opens the door to more questions, more research, more money spent on the space program. So I'm all for it. I think it's really, really fascinating to know what could be there.
Yeah, it could be interesting.
Yeah, because you know what? We've reached that point where we're at that Star Trek space, the final frontier, to see what's really out there, and considering how much we're trashing this planet.
I don't know. I don't want to go through another world war.
Yeah, I don't want to go through that either. Considering what's happening with Russia and everybody else, I'm not looking forward to that possibility either. So, if you get the hell out of Dodge, I'll gladly do it. However, though, we also have that Mars One project, which evidently is a huge scam. Somebody I know was actually selected for that. And I thought she was smarter than this. But then again, they gave a really good pitch. So I don't blame her for it. I blame really clever marketing. So I don't know. I don't know if I'd signed up for a suicide mission to Mars. But then again, think about it. People are going to remember the names of the people who went to Mars first, as opposed to some random president.
Or the people that they claimed went to Mars and then never made it.
Yeah. I mean, it sucks to see it kind of trivialized like that, but they never thought the program through as well as they probably should have. I mean, it's going to take world governments cooperating, not just one country, to make...
We need the United Federation of Planets.
Much. One way or another, we will get off the big blue marble, where we'll end up after this.
Actually, all they need to do is just get the U.S. citizens interested in paying for stuff again.
Or maybe readjust the budget, so 27 cents of every dollar isn't going to the fucking military.
That's not necessarily. I mean, there's that, but I mean, you can also just get us used to paying.
Voter campaigns.
And just get us excited about paying for something again. That's pretty much all you have to do.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see more of an interest taken in the space program because, like I said, your country has led the world in a lot of these big discoveries, but now other countries are starting to have up-and-coming space programs with moderate degrees of success.
Well, a lot of that's because we decided to stop paying for it. The citizens decided to stop paying for it, which is, whatever. I mean, I would be more than happy to pay for some of that stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, me as a Canadian citizen, I would gladly pay for it. Get this doofus out of office right now, who's hell bent on doing everything but helping people. But that's politics for another day. I'm trying to think what else I would like to mention here. One of the things I really like is something called Amiibos. And for those of you that have been living under a rock, Amiibos are these collectible figurines that are interactive with Wii U and 3DS titles put out by Nintendo, like little collectible characters. And last week, they put the fourth wave of these things out on pre-order. Pre-orders everywhere were sold out within a day, most likely within hours, some even within minutes. It got so bad for GameStop that across the country, because all their cash registers and computer systems are all networked, it crashed GameStop's website and GameStop's cash register system. So, because they oversold pre-orders, they're canceling them, and people were going and buying ludicrous amounts of these things so they could scalp them and, in turn, resell them. And it's a bit of a problem. Even here in Canada, we had problems with EB Games canceling orders for anything that was placed online. Unless you went in the store, you were like within the first hour or two, you aren't getting any of these new Amiibos. And with some of them being retailer exclusive, like Jigglypuff, for example, is a Target one, Greninja's, Toys R Us, and I think Best Buy's Pac-Man, and EB Games has Ness. The odds of you getting the exclusives are next to nil, and even the common ones like Charizard, Wario, and I think Robin and Lucina from Fire Emblem, I'm pretty sure that's where they're from. Good fucking luck. And it's causing a lot of people in the collector community who are like, man, is this even worth it anymore? Because Walmart had Gold Mario, which came out about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it's becoming super hard to find now too. And
see, I don't blame them. I've listened to several podcasts about this stuff now. I don't blame the consumer. I blame Nintendo for this. They're not producing enough of them, and they're leaving money on the table. This is not. It's. I don't know why they're doing this to themselves.
Yeah, it's weird because these things are a license to print money,
but they don't want to print that money.
But here's the thing: is that the retailer's not asking enough of them because they'd have to tell Nintendo we want X amount of units, right?
I don't think that's what it is anymore. After everyone's
I think Nintendo's playing the market like they did with the Wii.
Yeah, after they've seen how successful they were, I think there's just artificial scarcity there. But what's dumb is they're still leaving money on the table because people are turning around and selling these things for like way more than you can get them in the store.
Oh yeah, like
people are buying them.
A friend of mine went to a swap meet a couple of weeks ago, which is a pretty big one here in Ontario. There was a Wii Fit trainer, which is from the first 13, which came out back in November, $125, and people were paying it.
Which, by the way, can we discuss that first wave was absolutely ridiculous in the first place. Let's put out a wave, and then 2 weeks later, let's pull half that wave off the shelf for no reason. No reason.
It's so weird though because they said you'll always be able to find the core characters, which is cool. But characters like the Villager, Marth, and the Wii Fit Trainer became super scarce. Even characters like Samus became really hard to find after a while.
Oh, good. I have that one still in the box.
The only ones I'm missing right now are Pit and Falcon, Shulk, and Meta Knight are the only ones I'm missing currently outside of the Holy Trinity. And I don't think I'll ever see them unless I import them from either Germany or Japan, which is really weird. They're pretty common there, but not here. I don't know. Like, you're right. It's this weird disconnect. Why Nintendo doesn't want to make this money is beyond me. Even the Splatoon Amiibos, which aren't coming out for a little while, you can't get them anymore either because they're already sold out. We were talking about this on the Prototype, which is the other podcast I do on Twig, and we're wondering why Nintendo just doesn't offer pre-orders through their website so they know exactly how many to print and then send whatever stock they need to the stores. Because they'd have a quantifiable number then.
I don't understand how something can be sold out when it's not even available yet.
Yeah.
Because they give each store like 2.
Well, no, but I'm saying like even Nintendo like is saying that they're sold out. Like how? Like make more.
And there is something in the collector community where we're able to see how many months of manufacturing each character gets. Every character in this wave has 2 months of manufacturing, which means it shouldn't be hard to find these characters, yet you can't get a pre-order anywhere. There's one place near me right now. He can get you the wave, but you have to pre-order every single one, and you're paying above retail for it. Obviously, he has to make a profit as a store. I get that. But it's to the point where this hobby's not fun anymore. The fact that you have to kill yourself waiting online to get a pre-order. Now, tonight, as of this recording, I was able to snag a gold Mario off of Walmart.ca, and the only reason I got it is because somebody posted it on Twitter, and I happened to be at the computer at that exact moment.
Now, I gotta ask, why are you collecting them?
I use them, actually. For Smash Brothers, all my Amiibos I train. I train them to be good fighters so I can get better.
Huh.
Plus, I think they look cool.
I mean, I agree. I mean, like I said, I have Samus because she's my favorite Nintendo character. That's the only one I bought, and it's still in the packaging.
The only one I went out of my way to get was Rosalina. And Future Shop, which no longer exists in Canada, basically Best Buy, put them up for pre-order very early February. Only got 57 for the whole of Canada. I got one of them.
It's ridiculous.
It was sold out within about 30 seconds.
I mean, all they're doing is helping some guy put $200 in his pocket when Nintendo could be making way more money off of that.
Oh, yeah. Like, there was one pre-order situation I came across. This one was at the end of February. Or no, maybe it was December. Either way, I found out Meta Knight was going up for pre-order from Best Buy. And I'm like, oh, I love Meta Knight. He's a cool-looking character. He's, like, top tier. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'll go to my computer. I'll pre-order. So walking 15 feet from my bedroom to my studio, by the time I sat down in my chair, gone. Couldn't believe that. Major retailers sold out in about 15 to 20 fucking seconds. I thought San Diego Comic-Con was bad for exclusives. Fuck that. Nintendo collectors are douchebags. And even tonight, there's a YouTuber named P2U. He's the Amiibo hunter, if you look him up on YouTube. He was posting something, and he said people are canceling pre-orders if you post your... Let's say you take a picture of your pre-order receipt and you post it on Twitter, right? Saying, hey, I got Jigglypuff or something, right? People are calling that store with your order number and canceling it in your name. I've never heard of such a scumbag move in my life.
That's ridiculous.
I know, like, Jesus, man. I mean, these things are supposed to be for kids, which is, we all like geeky things that kids like, and we're all big kids at heart. But that's, like I said, that's a scumbag move on a whole new level. It honestly frustrates me, and that's why, like I said, I'm almost at the end of my rope with this hobby. If I don't, I've got 2 pre-orders down for Ness from Earthbound. One is to open and have for Smash Brothers. One's going to be trade bait, so I can trade for one that I don't have. And I feel like kind of a scumbag doing that, because that's how bad it's gotten.
See, I feel bad doing that kind of stuff. I remember the first Wii U I got, I kind of got sucked into it. What had happened was, it was released, and the Monday after they had come out, I kind of talked myself into wanting to get one, but I wasn't quite sure, and I kind of got my wife on board, even though she didn't know why I wanted one. And we went to when I was at work, I found out that the Target down the street from me had them, so I was like, well, let me go. Or the Target in Flint had one, but the one closer to me didn't have any, I think. But I thought, let's just go see if maybe their inventory is just not reporting the right way. Well, we went in there, and again, I was like 90% sure I was going to get one. And they had some, but they were for this woman, a mom, I'm guessing. For whatever reason, she had 3 pre-orders on her. And she was there to pick them up. And someone asked me, the sales guy asked me if he could help me with anything. And I said, yeah, I'm just kind of looking to see if I can get a Wii U. And then turned around and she looked at me. She goes, you want one of the Wii U's? And I said, yeah. And she goes, here, you can have this. And she hands me her pre-order slip. And I was like, well, shoot, now I can't not get it. But then at the same time, like Allie was saying, you should turn around and try to sell that on eBay. I said, I'm not going to do that. Like this woman gave it to me for free. I'm not going to, grab that and go around and try and sell it for a profit. I just can't do that. I'd rather like sell it for and I did. I sold it for what I paid for it. After I had used it for a little bit, but
I was actually really surprised how many people didn't have success scalping the Wii U. I mean, full disclosure, Nintendo gave me one for review when the system came out. I already had one on pre-order, so I said to myself, well, I just got a free Wii U. I've already paid this one off. It didn't cost me anything because I just used it for trade credit. So all right, I'll try and make a little bit of profit off this. It took me a really long time to unload that sucker. Only reason I got to unload it because I had a bunch of games with it. And the guy who got it off me got a real steal of a deal. He got like a Wii U and I think 10 games. I think I sold it to him for $600 because these were all games I'd already reviewed and shit. So I'm like, here you go. I'm not going to play these anymore. But I was surprised how many people were not scalping them. Because I guess after the Wii originally came out and it was so scarce, Nintendo was like, okay, well, now we know what the market wants. And
I don't think that's what happened with the Wii U, but I think no one knew what the Wii U was supposed to be. I think.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, nobody knew what it was supposed to be. Plus, with the Xbox One being available and the PS4 had come out, or was coming out the next year.
Xbox One and PS4 came out a year after the Wii U.
Okay, sorry, I got my dates mixed up.
But it wasn't. It was mostly that the Wii U, it looks like an add-on thing for the Wii. Like it sounds like that. It sounds like it's just an enhanced controller for the Wii.
Yeah, it wasn't advertised properly, and there are killer apps for the system now. But when it launched, it had a really weak launch lineup. Like the best title when it launched was Zombie U. New Super Mario Bros. U wasn't bad either, but Zombie U was the best game out on the system at that time. Now it's got a bunch of good titles. Now it's worth owning, but the third-party support is almost non-existent, which is really, really shitty. Which sucks, because for my Wii U, I played maybe 3 or 4 games. They're all first-party. There's nothing third that matters. So Bayonetta is a second-party game, and it's pretty kick-ass, but still. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what else I really kind of want to mention here.
Well, let's hear what Steve's got.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you got, Steve?
Well, there's the Star Trek Renegades trailer, which just came out. Which, more or less, it features Chekhov from the original series, Tuvok from Voyager, the holographic Doctor from Voyager, but he's not the holographic Doctor, he's the original Doctor that
right?
the holographic was based off of, Zimmerman.
Tom Paris' dad.
Yeah, Admiral Paris. And then they're doing, the Federation is doing some shady shit to kind of deal with the... in particular crisis, so they sent in a cast of outcasts to the Federation that are more or less. It almost kind of reminds me of like a Prison Break-ish type setup.
It's kind of like they're setting people that if people died, no one's going to miss them.
Yeah.
So to speak.
Yep.
They also got the kid from Voyager who played the Borg. Kid whose name I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, they do have a lot of characters that are coming back from the actual continuity.
Which is pretty kick-ass, too.
Which is kind of nice. And then they've got their custom new uniforms and everything. And
the ship looks so cool.
I know. The graphics, you can tell in some spots, are not up to par with the actual, but it's still pretty damn cool, I have to say.
I haven't seen the trailer yet, that's why I'm not commenting.
It looks a lot better than I thought it was going to.
Yeah, I have to agree. Like, based on the original teasers, I wasn't sure what to think, but I do think that this will turn out pretty well. Honestly, I'd like to see something like this come to TV or something. Even though it won't. Hope so.
What's it aiming for?
As far as what? They're aiming to... They did a... what was it? A Kickstarter?
Yeah.
Oh.
Originally?
No, Indiegogo, I think.
Indiegogo. Okay, yeah, that's... No, they did a Kickstarter and Indiegogo.
Indiegogo!
I think what their goal is to do... eventually try and pitch it to the networks. But they're also... It's all fan-funded, so...
Are they doing like a series that they're going to release to these fans?
The idea is this is meant to sell the idea that the Prime universe is still relevant. Like, I actually did a bunch of interviews with all these guys last year. I was actually going to work on Renegades under their PR thing, but we just couldn't come to an agreement. They're hoping this will reignite interest in Trek. And I think between this and Star Trek Continues, it's got a pretty good chance of doing something to the fandom anyway.
Yeah. But they're going in kind of a different direction than what we've ever really done before in Trek, which is kind of nice. It's kind of darker.
Sort of that Section 31 sort of vibe, where it's more, we do the things that Picard wouldn't sort of thing, basically. Getting blood on your hands, so to speak, whereas the other television shows have always dealt with upstanding crews. The Renegades crew is more like, if I gotta cut a bitch, I've gotta cut a bitch, and that's just how it is. Which is...
Well, like, it's funny because they even got Khan's daughter to be the ringleader for the Renegade group. And Tuvok and Chekhov are basically holding this crew by the balls to do what they want. So.
I really hope it's successful, and I really hope somehow this gets the attention of someone in charge of the property enough to give them a chance. But I think with Abrams' verse, being as quote-unquote successful as it is...
You know, they could just... honestly, they could go in two different directions. I mean, it's not... I mean, as dumb as it sounds, look at what DC's doing. Their TV universe is completely different from their film universe. Just do it that way.
Yeah, I think the problem with the people that are in charge of Trek, I think they almost pay too much attention to focus groups, where I think they're worried about people's attention being divided too much. Because I think the people in charge of Trek are a little too old and not necessarily hip with it. Because I think you hit it right on the head, Steve. With DC, television and movies are separate, because I think someone along that chain of command gets it. With the Star Trek stuff, somebody doesn't get it. And if someone could explain it to them, like you just said, it might work. But I just don't think it's going to, because...
Well, my thing is Paramount, CBS have had their head up their ass for so long.
Oh, God, yes.
They don't really know what to do with anything that they've got their hands on unless it's a comedy. And then they go for the same run-of-the-mill type of shows that they've been doing for years. So I mean, it's not even like they're trying to.
They've got. I mean, they have other shows besides comedies. I don't think they have anything science fiction. That's the.
Yeah, but I mean, they don't really focus on anything that isn't a comedy, really. I mean, they do, but they tend to highlight that their comedies are their number one thing.
CBS has several things going for it. They've got the comedy, which Steve's already talked about, and then they've got the action/dramas. They've got, God, what is it, 10, almost 20 years of CSI. They just premiered the new series CSI Cyber, which for me is honestly the best one out of them all. No,
the next one.
No, serious. Like, this is coming from someone who has watched like the first 3 seasons of the original CSI show and not much of the other 2, the Miami one and the New York one, or
Miami
whatever it was. Yeah. I haven't liked Caruso since he was on NYPD Blue.
I love Caruso mostly because of his attitude. I loved that. With the glasses.
I know.
And then they've got, stuff like Scorpion and other things. And
that show's still going.
Yeah. Yeah.
How?
Stalker isn't. Stalker, I think, got canned. I think it was more of CBS put on a show of actually showing people how. It was basically like CBS putting up a how-to video. It's like, oh my god. But yeah, I mean, CBS has always been action, comedy, drama. They've always been that ever since I can remember as a kid. I mean, it's just the way they are. And you're right, Steve, they do focus more on the comedies, but I mean, a lot of those action shows are kind of hidden gems sometimes.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that they aren't. It's just that CBS tends to put too much focus on their crap comedies compared to stuff that actually has merit.
No, so wait, CBS owns the rights to Star Trek?
Yes.
Isn't it a little... I guess, why does it sound weird to me that a network owns... I mean, they could always produce it for another channel.
Well, the funny thing is NBC used to have a lot of the rights to it back in the day, and then CBS...
They could always produce it for another channel because, Fox makes stuff for ABC, ABC makes stuff for Fox, and, that happens. I mean, like, I guess, if it was good enough, another network could request it and CBS could produce it,
Yeah, it could be worse. It could put it on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Actually, if it ended up on the Sci-Fi Channel, would that really be worse? Because at least it'd be on TV.
That's true. I think I'd take it in any medium at this point, just as long as it got on TV.
And from what I've heard, the Sci-Fi Channel is kind of turning things around.
Yeah, because
they kind of jumped in... They kind of killed themselves for a while there, and they are... Yeah, it does seem like they
started canceling like all the good stuff.
They could just turn this show into a Netflix exclusive then.
That could also happen too.
And I'm sure you guys know this, but Sci-Fi... it would basically be CBS making a deal with NBC Universal because that's who owns Sci-Fi.
Or Comcast.
Yeah, that too.
Comcast owns NBC Universal.
Yeah,
yep.
True.
But, yeah, I mean, I would be happy to see Trek return in any regard, but kind of along the same...
I think they're just scared to do it.
Well, they're actually thinking about it now. I mean, it's not... there's been all kinds of actual talk going on now of trying to think of what to do to revive it for television. And we've talked about that in the past, so...
Yeah.
Let's talk about it some more.
Have you guys been following Supertroopers?
Nope.
Kind of. I saw the original. I thought it was all right.
Yeah, I'm kind of with that on that one. It didn't do anything for me.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great at the time. It's probably the only Broken Lizard film I've ever seen, though.
It is.
What was the other one? Club Dread. I thought that was kind of funny, but
They did that. Beer Fest.
I liked Beer Fest.
I've never seen any of the other ones.
I think the problem with Super Troopers 2, it's about 10 years beyond relevancy.
Well, yeah, you're probably right too. But they did a Kickstarter as well, or Indiegogo.
And they were funded within like what, a day? Not even.
Within a day, they hit goal.
I cannot stand movies going to Kickstarter and Indiegogo. I don't understand.
They couldn't get funding any other way, and the studio said if you pay for it, we'll release it widespread or whatever.
Then they should pay for it out of their frickin' pocket. I don't get it. These people have their own money. If they want to make the movie that I don't get it. I didn't get it with Veronica Mars, so I'm not like saying it's because of this. I didn't get it with Veronica Mars. I don't get it with. I don't get it when there's these big players involved, with that have like deep pockets. I don't get it. Like these people have jobs and they can make millions of dollars doing things, and they need more millions of dollars so that they can get a paycheck to do a movie. Like I don't get it. I understand that they get like a copy of the movie or whatever, but
there's all kinds of like different perks. Like one guy bought the cop car from the movie, for the new movie. I mean, but they've already raised $3.5 million in 16 days, which is more than Star Trek Renegades got, which was $270,000.
Damn.
So
yeah.
I mean, I'm excited for the movie, but I have not personally handed over any money because I feel like the movie should come out on its own anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see it. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to pay for somebody to make a movie for me to have to spend money to go see the movie on top of it.
See, that's the thing.
Mars was the only project I've donated towards something like that.
See, I guess I just don't like with movies. I guess I just don't understand because it's
like I could see the TV series kind of like what like the Star Trek one because they're trying to pitch it to a network.
Maybe I
could see it more than the movie.
Yeah, I can see that more than the movie. But what I was going to say is the one thing I've done on Kickstarter was I backed the Amplitude remake for the PlayStation 4. But I just looked at that as I'm pre-ordering the game. That to me that was the same thing as me going down to GameStop and giving them $40 to put in an account and earn interest on until the game comes out. The only difference here is I gave my $40 directly to Harmonix, and that's going to be a direct return. I'm going to get a copy of the game. I didn't pay them $40 and then they're asking me to go buy it again, which is why it's like, do you get? I understand they get like a copy of the movie, but do they get like a check to go see the movie in the theater, like one of those vouchers? Like
some of the perks.
No, I don't.
Obviously,
I'm not worried.
The $30 perk gets you a digital download of the movie, along with all of the previous add-on stuff.
At what point?
Which is like,
at what point do you earn a ticket to go see it in the theater?
$35. You get a Fandango movie ticket.
Okay.
And then it says it.
Does it say what it's valued at? I'm just curious.
$13.
Okay. I guess that's where it like comes down to me. But then again,
and you get the previous perks too on top of
right.
it. So,
is there any one that is just a movie ticket?
Not that I can see.
See, I think
that's the movie ticket plus the previous stuff.
See, I think there should be one where it's just like, here, give us $15 and to make this movie, and we'll issue you a movie ticket. That's the only way any of that stuff makes sense to me. If there's
I can see why they don't, because the theater has to make money too.
But they did it. They gave it. They're issuing that Fandango pass anyways.
Yeah, but that's because you're using a service, and that service has an agreement with the theater. That money's already been paid. They can't issue you a ticket because then you're cutting out the middleman. It's a chain, more or less. I can see why they don't do it. By you buying the movie through them, you're giving the money directly to them. For them to give you a movie ticket plus, you have to involve the theater. That theater then has to in turn pay its employees, overhead, blah 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 blah. That's where Fandango comes.
I'm not following the chain. If I give them $15 to make a movie,
Yeah,
and they should issue me a ticket for $15 to go see that movie that they've already made.
Yeah, but I'm trying to figure out how to explain this to you. Okay. Where do I even start?
I'm just not following the money in this situation.
If they owned the theater chain, then they could do that for you. They do not own the theater chain.
So why does $30 get me a movie ticket?
Probably through some kind of an agreement with Fandango. They probably have something figured out where they get a percentage.
It's probably that they give up to the $13 for the ticket, and which leaves them the person getting the perks to the $17 that's remaining.
Yeah.
Or not the $17, but the $22.
Plus, there's likely some kind of a marketing agreement with Fandango in there as well, with Super Troopers using that name, and Fandango's already established brand. There's probably some kind of a contra deal in there as well. Trying to follow the money in this case would be very, very complicated.
Well, I'm just saying $30 would be way too much for me to invest in a movie.
Depending on the movie, I would pay for it. Like, if they were to make a Shadowrun movie or a Call of Cthulhu movie, here you go, here's $50.
Well, see, here's the problem. $30, $35 is way too much for me to invest in a movie because, yes, I'm going to spend that anyways, but here's the thing. I'm going to go and spend $13 to see it in probably either the regular theater or the IMAX near me, okay? And then I'm going to turn around and buy that thing on Blu-ray. The only difference is on Blu-ray, I'm going to get a superior copy to a digital download. I'm going to get a digital download with the Blu-ray, and I'm probably going to get a DVD. And that's all of that is going to cost me $35. Like, there's no way that my $35 just to go see the movie and buy the movie is comparable to me giving them $35 to make the movie. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's no way that. And I've seen this. Like, there was a Kickstarter that I wanted to fund about from Area 5 where they're making a video game documentary, and I wanted to back it. The problem is they wanted like $150 to get that series on Blu-ray, and that's how I wanted it. But I wasn't willing to pay $150 for 13 episodes on Blu-ray. That was not worth it to me. I'll rather wait for that to actually come out like in a store somewhere and then buy that at much less. Like, that's for me. I just have to look at it as, when I look at that stuff, it's like, what am I paying for? Am I going to pay more for this thing eventually? Probably.
Yeah, so. I see it when I invest in stuff. I see it as an investment in the product. For example, there are web shows I follow, such as the Game Chasers or Pat the NES Punk, stuff like that.
Well, see,
and I understand that money goes towards production.
But to me that's a donation. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's two different things going on here. One, what you just mentioned is something that I would do, which is donate money to an existing product that's going to help keep them going and producing content. Something that's already like gotten its feet under it, and I just want to contribute because maybe I watch it for free on YouTube all day long, and I want to give them some money.
So like a video podcast kind of thing,
yeah,
or whatever.
Yeah, like someone that's already done the groundwork and stuff like that, versus just helping these guys. Plus,
start up from scratch.
Right, and plus there's a difference to me between helping some guy with a YouTube show versus helping movie stars.
Well, documentaries, for this video game documentary, you'd be surprised how expensive docs can get. And
I understand. I mean, I follow all the guys on Twitter and hear them talking about it, and they had a nice breakdown of what
the investment of $150. You're basically investing at that point.
But you're not getting it. You don't see, investment requires a return, and I don't. That getting a Blu-ray set. Product. But $150 for that product is not worth it to me.
And I never said it was a good return, but
that's what I'm saying. That I guess that's the way to look at it. It's not a good return on an investment.
Yeah. Like, for example, one Kickstarter I backed, I just got it the other day, was for Pathfinder, the tabletop role-playing game. There was a book called Freeport. I donated $200 to basically buy a paragraph. My character is now officially canon in a role-playing game. that's a good investment to me.
Okay.
I now have a huge 512 full-color book with full-color maps. I'm still getting perks that'll be sent to me in the next few weeks. My character's now real.
All right, Powers, let me ask you this, Mike. The
God or Powers?
No, the other one. The non-Canadian. I understand where you're coming from about movies, like you feel that they shouldn't have to be on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. What about stuff like documentaries, like that Back in Time documentary? Do you think that falls in the same thing as a movie, or do you feel like it's more of a donation kind of thing?
See, I think again, the one I wanted to, the Area 5 guys, that was a documentary too, so it's the same kind of thing. These are guys that they're trying to make something from nothing. Like I know the Area 5 guys don't have money. I mean, they started their own business, and they were let go from OneUp.com and formed their own company because they did the One Up show. And I guess I knew, in this case, I knew who these guys were and what they could do and what they wanted to do. And it was like, okay, I would like to make a donation into this, but for me, it was like, okay, how much do I have to give to get what I want out of this? That was just like too much for me. And documentaries are different. Documentaries to me are kind of like the same thing as like a YouTube thing. Like I would see that as a donation.
Okay.
If it was an ongoing thing, I guess that's the thing. If it's an ongoing series, like a web show or something like that.
No, this was a Kickstarter for a documentary called Back in Time. They raised their money, I believe. They were trying to get their cast interviews, kind of like to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the film for Back to the Future, and it was the same thing as what Supertroopers did.
Well, see, there was another Kickstarter I was going to donate to, which was for an actual podcast. It was a Retronauts podcast from One Up. When they were let go, they let them keep the name, and they wanted to keep it going for the fans, so they started a Kickstarter. And I think originally they only asked for like $5,000 or $50,000, and they ended up with like $500,000. I wanted to donate with that one, but at the same time, it was like, well, you're going to release all the episodes anyways. So it was, I didn't donate. I kind of regret not donating to it, but now they're still fulfilling the rewards for that. But to me, that would have been, in that particular situation, because it's an ongoing series, that would have been more of a donation.
Yeah.
Type thing, just to help keep that show going. I don't know, like one time off products like that. Like I said, I don't have a problem paying for like a game, where I get like, I know I'm just it's basically like doing a pre-order, but I don't know if I'd ever pre-order a movie for $150, Like,
oh man, some of those higher end quote unquote donation packages for Super Troopers 2 were just outrageously I know they're giving you a lot, but wow.
Well, there's one for that series Con Men with Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk. You pay $25,000, you get to go to their birthday party. If I had $25,000 and clearly it wasn't an object, yeah, sure. If I ever win the lottery, I'll do one of these insane Kickstarter ones. Because that would be awesome, just to hang with those two for the day. And ride roller coasters.
I'm sorry, if I ever won the lottery, I'd be spending my money on a lot of other things. So should we talk The Flash and then finish it out?
Sure.
Actually, I think I might take this spot because you guys will be able to say more about The Flash than I will. I actually have an early start tomorrow, so.
Okay.
I enjoyed the episode. I thought it was great. That's what I'll say.
I haven't seen it yet.
It was good as everyone said it was. So, but yeah, I'm gonna have to bow out here because I'm actually getting up at 3 a.m. to do something different, and then I'm going back to bed for 2 hours.
Are you and I doing the same thing?
No. So.
Good night, baby.
All right, I'll talk to you guys later.
All right,
bye.
Well, since Don hasn't seen the damn thing, I don't think it's fair for us to talk about it.
Please don't ruin it for me.
It's Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
I knew that, because believe me, the internet ruined that for me weeks ago.
I think really what I want to talk about when it comes to Flash and Arrow is Super Iron Man Atom Boy. Oh my!
Well, I like the costume design. Though. That looks cool.
I think that they're leading to the Atom, like the actual Atom. I just think that right now he seems like Iron Man, but I think that with having the nanites in his bloodstream now, it may have an adverse effect on his suit.
Right. Now, all day, the last couple of days before this episode went online, I was asking around online, and really, like, I get it. 1976, 77, whenever they initially cast Superman, they wanted an unknown, and they got Christopher Reeve. And, he had 4 awesome films that he did, and I don't care what anyone says about Superman 3 and 4. Those are the movies that I grew up with as a young kid watching.
Hey, they still haven't had a good Superman movie since.
Man of Steel was okay. It was a different direction.
I don't like it.
I didn't like it, but it was tolerable.
It was better than Shitty Returns.
I didn't even see that movie. So.
Okay, so here's my point. I've been asking everybody on Twitter and Facebook, what the hell has Brandon Routh done between Shitty Returns, aka Superman Returns in 2006, and his now time on Arrow / The Flash, whatever else? Okay.
Dylan Dog and the Bounty Hunter.
Yeah. But seriously, because I've never seen Scott Pilgrim. I probably never will see that movie. I have zero interest in it. I don't dislike it. I don't like it. I just don't have any interest.
Mike, give it a shot. I really suggest you give it the hour and a half. You don't need to
If I do and I don't like it, you owe me $20.
I'll take that. You know what? I will pay for the cost of the Redbox rental. I'll gladly donate that. You know what? If you like video games, you'll probably dig it.
So we got that. So we got Superman Returns in 2006, and now he's on the Arrow.
He'll soon be on the show The Atom.
And he's a good... I honestly like him. I think he's got a very underplayed charisma.
I like him
I'll be
better.
Happy to see him do that.
I like him better as Ray Palmer. He's a better character actor in that role than he was as Clark Kent Superman. But I was like, what has he done in between 2006 and now? And I'm looking here on his IMDb, and the hilarious thing I find here is that one of his biggest... I wouldn't say it's a make me famous role, but one of the biggest shows he was on before Superman Returns was in 2000. He was on several episodes of MTV's Undressed as Wade. Oh boy. But yeah, I mean, there's an interesting thing. He was in Zack and Miri Make a Porno. But I mean, I just wasn't sure of what he had done in between 2006 and now. And I mean, he's got some interesting interesting roles on here. But I do enjoy him in Arrow. I just don't like the direction Arrow is going.
Yeah, I'm enjoying Arrow, but not as much as Flash.
Yeah.
And at this point, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I enjoy more than Arrow, which is saying quite a bit.
If I had to rank them, because I don't watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so I won't include that one, obviously. If I had to rank the 3 superhero television shows I watch right now, Flash is easily number 1, Gotham is number 2, and Arrow is number 3. If it was still season 1, season 2 of Arrow, I would say, because I didn't watch them as they aired. I marathoned them right before we did the Remote Control podcast episodes for those seasons, and when I marathoned season 1 and season 2 on Netflix for Arrow, I absolutely loved it. I thought it was a brilliant, brilliant show. And now in season 3, for me, I get it's supposed to be a dark show, but there is such a thing as taking your show way too damn dark. And that's what they're doing. And plus, they're basically ripping Batman's cape off of him.
Yeah, well, Gotham's never going to put the cape on, so...
You may get it in the last 30 seconds of the series finale.
In
Smallville.
In like season
Smallville,
20.
exactly.
Yeah, in like season 20.
I have no... I just... As far as Gotham is concerned, I don't care as much about it, but that's only because... I just don't like how they're doing some of the character introductions and then...
See, in 10 years, so to speak, right?
Yeah, that... Because I'm just expecting it to do that. And it's unfair, but honestly, we don't need another freaking origin story. I know that it's more so a thing of Gordon, but again, none of these villains existed before Batman had the suit.
Yeah.
Honestly, I haven't watched Gotham since before the break. That's about how much I care. And that sucks.
I like Arrow more at this point than
I like the
Gotham.
Flash. I just haven't had a chance to catch up with it since it came back because I've been really busy with other things. Yeah. S.H.I.E.L.D.
The
I'm
Flash
surprised
is
as good as it is.
The Flash is just simply awesome.
That's how to do a superhero show right, because it's fun, serious when it needs to be, and never overly campy like Smallville, nor overly serious like Arrow.
So let me ask you guys this. With The Flash, how long do you guys think that they can keep it up without pulling a Smallville, without being something like there are plenty of really off-the-wall and wacky seasons in Smallville's 10 years.
2.5 seasons before they have to start getting stupid, but I think they could write themselves out of it if they have to.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Flash for me, absolutely loving it. You know, like I said in the beginning of the podcast, I just re-DVR'd the Tricksters episode so I can watch it again, seeing as how there was no new episode this week. But they're doing everything right, and it's so weird for me seeing Jesse L. Martin outside of Law and Order. Don't get me wrong, I love him as Joe in The Flash. I don't dislike the character at all. It's so weird for me seeing him now and just not seeing Jerry Orbach with him, because that's what I know the longest time for those two actors.
There's four Prison Break actors in this continuity.
Yeah.
And one of them plays Count Vertigo.
Mm-hmm.
And they're part of the Fox River 8 that broke out of jail in the Prison Break. And then there's Bagwell, who plays the Clock King.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Burroughs, who plays Heatwave, and you have Schofield, who plays Captain Cold. So, which Captain Cold and Heatwave work in just pretty much the same proximity that they did in Prison Break, because they were brothers in Prison Break. So, I see them every time I watch.
Have you seen the WonderCon footage that they released at WonderCon 2015?
I may have. I don't know.
It was a clip where they showed, like, hey, this is what's going to happen on the rest of the season of The Flash.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
And they re-show the scene of Cisco and Dr. Wells. And
maybe he's still going to die.
You know, the funny...
I don't know. I don't see it going...
The funny thing about the whole time travel thing is, I kind of wish we were in the other timeline still. I really do. Because
it doesn't matter. The way they're setting up for it this time, it's not going to be as... It's going to be... They're setting up for a huge fall, and then something's going to happen. Yeah. And I think it's going to work better in this regard.
Yeah.
But as they've... as one of the many rules of time travel, eventually time resets itself.
Yep.
So there will be things that will happen that happened before that will happen again.
Reminds me.
Well, there's one thing that's kind of cool. They're talking about this. that there's supposed
They're talking
to
about
be
doing
a
the
Smallville
Flashpoint
crossover.
paradox.
Oh yeah, no.
That's with Supergirl.
Yeah.
No. They're talking about the Flash visiting the Smallville continuity through like a parallel universe.
It could work because yeah, it could work, but I
don't want to see it go that way.
I don't necessarily not want to see it go that way because I'd love to see Tom Welling as the character again, but I remember from the Smallville days, he specifically said, I do not want to become a victim of the Superman curse. He said he did not want to wear the suit at all. And he didn't.
Well, look at Dean Cain. He didn't have anything happen.
No, I know.
Well, did Brandon Routh.
He spent all those years on Ripley's, believe it or not. But yeah, no, I understand that. I'm just saying that's what I remember in interviews hearing X number of years ago Tom Welling saying. It would be cool to see him again. It would be kind of awesome.
Well, I think they said that's one way they can get Superman on the show in the suit without stepping on anybody's toes.
Right, yeah.
And if they did that, that would be an awesome season finale.
You know what would be interesting, though? If they did I don't want them to do a triple crossover, but since Ray is predominantly on Arrow, it'd be interesting if you could see Ray on The Flash with Michael Rosenbaum as Lex. That would be awesome.
I'd love to see them bring back Michael Rosenbaum as Lex Luthor. That's my Lex Luthor.
Go ahead, Steve.
Clancy Brown's
well,
cool,
he's the live
Michael
action
Rosenbaum.
one. Clancy Brown is the voice.
Yeah. The coolest thing that two Lex Luthors had ever done is in Justice League Unlimited, the Great Brain Robbery. When Flash's mind ends up in Lex's body and vice versa. So you have Michael Rosenbaum trying to basically be Lex Luthor in the Flash's body and vice versa. Oh man, it was so hilarious. But before you came back, Mike, Steve and I were talking about the whole time travel aspect of the Flash, and only thing I can think of is at the end of just one of the Justice League Unlimited episodes, Green Lantern says the Green Lanterns have a legend. No one person can see the beginning of time, and Batman says, "Good, write him a ticket."
See, the problem with doing the time travel stuff on the Flash, they better be goddamn careful, because that's the one thing, if you fuck up, people will remember.
Mm-hmm.
But the writers on that show and the showrunner seem pretty smart, so I'm not too worried about it.
Right.
Like, I'm surprised they didn't fuck up the Reverse Flash thing. So...
Yeah. Well, we all thought they were going to, and then they pulled the time travel stuff.
I'm thinking, all right, I'm fine with that. That's cool. Now, don't touch Flashpoint until you know you've got a budget. In which case, we're fine. That show's got a lot of potential. A lot.
Yeah.
Hopefully they don't squander it and go into Smallville territory too soon. Or go too dark, because that's not the appeal of that show.
Right.
It's the superhero show you can watch with your kids and have to explain very, very little to them. It's enjoyable for everybody. And I think that's part of the magic of The Flash, why it's so good.
Well, the funny thing is that's the only superhero show my wife will watch.
I think because it's not depressing.
I think because the guy has superpowers.
Yeah.
Although
that's my wife's
Shield's
reasoning.
starting to get into that now. Now that they brought back Deathlock.
Well, and the only thing I find weird with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the dual shield.
I kind of get where they're coming from. But they need to wrap that up by the end of the season.
They need to do it quick.
My guess is that will lead into Age of Ultron.
They need to have Fury come back and just bitch slap both of them.
My guess is there should be a pretty big season finale. My guess is you might see Sam Jackson back, or you might see Jeremy Renner by the end of the season.
I'm hoping Sam Jackson. I want to see him kick somebody's ass.
I'd like to see Jeremy Renner get in on that show, because you know what? If he doesn't have a busy movie season, if he could film 1 or 2 episodes, I mean, sure, it's cool seeing Lady Sif, but give me Hawkeye.
Give me Tony Stark.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Robert Downey Jr., even just for 1 episode, that would be fucking
season
great.
finale.
Yeah, like, have him show up for the last 10 minutes where he has to help solve a tech problem with, like, Fitz and Simmons.
Well, I wouldn't even have him do that. I have him do something more important, like, look, bitch, I own S.H.I.E.L.D.
Nah.
That would also work.
Tony Stark, director of S.H.I.E.L.D.
He actually is in some kind of...
Yeah, he was in the 616.
And I think there's going to be 2 S.H.I.E.L.D.s anyway once Age of Ultron and Cap 3 come out. Because you're going to have Tony Stark's version and then Captain America's version.
It'll be interesting to see how this all comes together in the next month or so. Because Age of Ultron's already starting the screen.
Renner doesn't
I'm
have...
busting my balls to try and get into a press screening right now. And I don't leave the house often. Motherfucker, I will run a track if I have to go see this movie.
I don't know what Renner's got going on as far as working stuff, but according to and take this with a grain of salt, it's IMDb, but he's got 2 things in pre-production. He's got Civil War and something called The Story of Your Life. He's in post-production on Mission Impossible 5. And he's supposedly been announced, but I think this has been debunked about the untitled Bourne sequel.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be in it.
Yeah, thank God. As much as I like him as an actor, I don't.
That movie sucked.
I don't want to see Aaron Cross ever.
It sucked for many reasons. If it would have had Matt Damon actually in it, and then kind of collaborating with him,
it needed a better script. That's for fucking sure.
That script was terrible.
Like I think I've said this before. It was 2 hours of people yelling in the phones and yelling at computer screens.
And then showing pictures of Bourne.
Yeah, like, fuck off. Like, don't remind us of a better movie. You're trying to tell your own story. Like that's rule number 1 in Hollywood. Like, fuck off.
That's why Matt Damon was like, no, I'm not doing that one.
Like, honestly, he just needs to show up for 2 days of filming for S.H.I.E.L.D. because that show has a very fast turnaround. And just get in, get his shots, leave. And that would do so well for just a faith towards the fans. Because right now they're talking about doing an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. spin-off show. Supposedly it might be Bobby Morse or whoever the hell that chick's real name is. The chick Mockingbird.
Mockingbird, yeah.
Or they're talking about it could be the Inhumans and have Skye be a character that can go between the 2 shows.
Like a bridge.
The groundwork for the Inhumans in 2019.
They're already talking that Daredevil's is like in the same continuity as Agents.
Oh, it is absolutely. It's like because all the MCU stuff is all connected. So it wouldn't surprise me if you see or hear Matt Murdock's name on S.H.I.E.L.D. or you have them talk about. Actually, it's funny. They actually do talk specifically in the pilot for Daredevil because of the Battle of New York. That's why crime is so bad. Because people left and the bad element moved in.
I am just so stoked for Daredevil, not because of the character itself. It's more so for the Kingpin, because the Kingpin is friggin' Robert Gorin from Criminal Intent. I mean, this guy, Vincent D'Onofrio, he was friggin' Thor in Adventures in Babysitting. I mean, I cannot wait to see what he does with Kingpin.
I would never have thought of him as Wilson Fisk in 1,000 years.
I would have.
Seeing how he looks in that role, like, fuck, man, you cast that good.
I could so... The reason why I can so see him in it is because of several different character changes throughout Law & Order Criminal Intent's lifespan that he did with his character Gorin. And the other thing is what he did with Gomer Pyle in Full Metal Jacket. Oh, I could so see him being Fisk.
It's going to be cool. Like, it's one of those shows... I'm excited to see how it fits into the rest of the MCU. And I'm, like tonight, like, as of this episode, Steve put this up at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
in theory, I should be on episode 7 or 8 right now. This podcast drops. I'm curious to see what the Easter eggs are going to be for this show. Because they've already said it's established that Crusher Creel that appeared on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the same Crusher Creel that Matt Murdock's dad fights. Same guy. He's just younger. So right. I'm curious to see how this is all going to turn out. Like,
you'll have to give me the Reader's Digest edition when we get down to it, because I have no intention of watching anything that's on Netflix for Marvel.
Really?
Oh my God! Why would you deprive yourself?
I just don't care. I don't care about any of the characters that are on it. I got enough on between NBC, CBS, ABC, and Fox and CW that I don't care.
I challenge you this. Give it one episode. That's it. Just one. Don't like it, move on. What?
Come on, Steve.
You're going to do the rest of your time.
You've given other things one episode.
I've given other shows entirely too long.
Exactly, so I'm asking for 60 minutes.
I don't know if I can do 60 minutes.
Come on, Steve.
I don't like any of those characters that are on it.
But this is a new interpretation. Let someone else introduce you to the characters again. Think of it as like Star Trek, Steve. This is someone's reboot. Give it a chance.
Yeah, but the reboot was bad.
Oh.
I'm not saying that this
what you saw sucked before. How do you know this isn't going to be good? All I'm asking is 60. That sucks.
I may give it a chance.
Oh God, we need to close this out because I don't even want Mike to elaborate on it. I'll make it up to you. End quote.
I'm not going to blow a plan. I'll make it worth his while.
1, that would be wrong. 2, that would require him to come to Michigan. 3.
I don't know, Steve, for the right. Never mind. Hey, Blair, I gotta go blow Megatron. Go for it. See? You heard it here, folks.
What did she say?
Like, go for it. I'm like, oh, that wasn't the answer I wanted.
Oh,
Steve, you got company coming.
Oh, God.
That's my dream.
Well, kids, it's gotten pretty dark here.
Like Daredevils and blowjobs, let's close this out.
Well, where everyone's a clown and someone's got tricks.
Tricks.
At least Deadpool looks promising.
I'm optimistic about Deadpool. I think there isn't a lot coming
Ryan
out of the
Reynolds is perfect for
MCU.
that.
I'm overly concerned about. Ant-Man, I'm a little worried about.
They got Yellow Jacket already premiered the costume about an hour ago.
Yeah, that looks pretty kick-ass. Now, I hope the movie can deliver.
That's another one I just don't care about, but I'll end up watching because it's a part of the movies universe.
Yeah. I'm less invested in Ant-Man. The next one I'm really invested in is probably Doctor Strange. Because I've always had a thing for that character.
I would care about that more, but I can't stand Benedict Cumberbatch. He's in freaking everything, and it drives me nuts seeing him in everything. Like, I've heard the accent so many damn times, I'm sick of seeing his face.
I'd be curious to see what he brings.
He's like a British Kristen Stewart with his emotions.
Give his credit. Give him some good things for.
I'm not saying he's not a good actor. I'm not saying he couldn't be the next Doctor Who.
That'd be fucking cool.
I could honestly see him becoming that. That's after Sherlock and everything else. I could see him becoming that. But I'm so sick of his face showing up and everything. Same thing with Chris Pratt. I mean, I like Chris Pratt, but he shows up in everything, and it's annoying. I don't know. It's just one of those things. So I think like some of the newer movies past Age of Ultron, I'm not going to care as much. In that regard, I would rather watch Daredevil than watch Ant-Man or Doctor Strange.
I'm still waiting for an Iron Man 4.
That's never going to happen. Cap 3.
Okay, Cap 3 then. That's fine. I'm just saying I'm still waiting for some sort of Iron Man 4.
I'm less invested in Black Panther, but I want to know who the villain is.
I know nothing of the character, so it doesn't impact me.
T'Challa's really cool. I mean, if you watch Avengers Earth Mightiest Heroes, that made me a fan of him, thinking, alright, he's actually pretty badass. But we'll have to wait and see what happens with that.
I think post Age of Ultron, I don't think I'm going to care about any of the films until the next Avengers film.
I think Guardians 2 will be decent.
Well, yeah, I mean, other than that, but I'm saying, like, other than stuff I've already seen to this point of continuity and characters, I don't care about any of the ones that are coming out. Not because I'm saying they're bad, but because I just have no emotional attachment to any of them.
Yeah, for me, I've got a lot of attachment because a lot of these characters I've seen on the Spider-Man animated in the 90s from the X-Men animated, and just because I read a lot of Marvel in the 90s, I'm curious to see how they'll pull a lot of these things off. Like, the main reason I'm invested in Doctor Strange is someone told me if Marvel was going to make a horror movie, this will be it. And I'm just thinking, if they can play up the mysticism and make magic in the MCU seem really fantastic, it's going to be fucking awesome. If it's handled right. Ant-Man, it's not Hank Pym, so I care a little bit less. Nothing against the Scott Lang character, I just like Pym more.
Well, he is there.
Yeah, but he's old and useless, and Michael Douglas. But Black Panther, like I said, I care because I like T'Challa. Supposedly Ernie Hudson's going to play Black Panther's dad. I'm curious to know who they're going to have as the villain, because it might be Claw, and if it's Claw, Andy Serkis should not be your end game for that, I don't think.
Next time, Gadget.
Say, who was the guy? Better than the dude from Iron Man 3, Guy Pearce.
Guy Pearce, yeah.
As long as it's better than that asswipe, because that villain was fucking lame. We'll have to wait and see, ultimately. Guardians 2, I'm very curious where they're going to take that one next. But I have faith in James Gunn. A lot of faith. So, other than that, Inhumans, I think that's about the biggest risk. I think that's the next big risk for the MCU. Because people know who the Guardians are now, and they love them. Black Panther, they'll make them cool. Doctor Strange has Cumberbatch, so that should be an automatic home run. Ant-Man with Paul Rudd, I could see that being at least a moderate success, but hey, who knows? And I don't know. It's going to be an interesting few years at the movies, that's for sure.
Yep.
Still kind of don't care about Batman and Superman, but hey, maybe I'll be surprised.
I care about it only because I want to see the bat suit and I want to see Batman kicking Superman's ass.
I want to see how they're going to build the DC world. That's what makes me so interested, is how they have it work as a coherent narrative.
I'm scared of how they're going to introduce all these people in 2.5 hours.
Yeah, that worries me. That really worries me.
That's the thing that makes me not want that movie to come out.
Maybe it's going to be a 3.5 hour movie.
Well, here's something, and I'm probably in the minority for this one. I don't want them to fuck up Aquaman. Because after seeing Throne of Atlantis from the DC animated, much more respect. Plus, I did read a few issues of the new 52 run of him. Mm-hmm. Aquaman's really fucking cool. Just please don't fuck him up, because he is neat. And the guy playing him looks like somebody you'd never want to meet in a very dark alley. He will eat.
He looks like an Orange County Chopper reject.
Yeah, but he'd kick your ass and my ass and Steve's ass at the same time, even if we had fucking miniguns. A big motherfucker. But yeah, I really don't want them to mess up Aquaman. The other characters I care a little bit less about. I'm kind of wondering what they're going to do with a Wonder Woman, considering she's on the same power level as Superman. So, I don't know. Please don't fuck up Batman either, but I got a lot of faith in Ben Affleck too. So
yeah,
we'll
it's Affleck. I don't think they're gonna screw that up. But I've said that. I think I've said this before on the show. It really surprises me that he agreed to even do it, because I remember after his Daredevil run, he said he would never wear tights again.
Well, he originally wanted Batman. They just wouldn't give it to him.
Yeah, it's like, this is kind of like Batman Light. Like, I died Batman when he was Daredevil. But hey, you got to make out with Jennifer Garner, so not too bad a consolation prize.
Well,
especially now that that's.
I was going to say, yeah, he gets to make out with her every day of his life now.
Yeah, fucking hey, dude, you did okay. You get the bang, Sidney Bristow.
Alrighty, so I think we're going to close out the show.
Yep.
So, anything you guys want to pimp out before we get all the way closed out?
Absolutely. On Saturday, April 11th, it's International Tabletop Day, and me and the rest of the Terrible Warriors will be live streaming our DC Adventures game from Green Ronin, and you can see it at terriblewarriors.com, I think, /live. We go live on Twitch at 4 p.m. Eastern, so it'll be a 4.5 to 5 hour live stream of us playing the role-playing game. In Adventure, I'm calling Days of Future Crisis. So hopefully you guys will join us for that. It's going to be me, Steve Snowball Sailor, Tom White from Weird Video Games, Derek the Bard from What We've Watched, and Julian Spillane from the Blast Processors, and Justin Eacock of Justin Eacock. So yeah, you're gonna see Batman, you're gonna see Mirror Master, Jack Knight Starman, John Stewart the Green Lantern, and did I miss anybody in there?
Jon Stewart, The Daily Show.
Yeah, Jon Stewart of The Daily Show, and it'll be a good time. And hopefully I'll have a review of Mortal Kombat X next week. I'm still waiting on my press copy to show up. So stay tuned for that, and check out the Road Warrior franchise show we posted last week on thisweekingeek.net.
Awesome.
And for me, coming up this next week, I've got a new interview with album producer John Takis. He's done stuff for La La Land Records, including Superman the Animated Series soundtrack, Batman the Animated Series Volume 3, and a bunch of other things. He is pretty much one of the masterminds behind the new release from La La Land Records, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, music from the television series. It's a 2-disc set, so I'm going to be talking to John again about all things He-Man this time. Sometime in May, I'm not exactly sure when. I can't believe I can actually get to say this. The GCRN will be chatting with Jem. I locked in an interview for myself, Amy, and Nicole on our Jem podcast, Showtime Synergy, to talk to the voice of Jem, Samantha Newark. So that'll be coming out in May. Yeah, just go check out Showtime Synergy. It's our Jem Review podcast. Episode 4 will be up this week. Yeah, that's pretty much it for now.
I'm working on websites. I'm doing my stuff for class and attempting to do more voiceover stuff. But other than that, not much else is going on with me. So, thank you for listening to Altered Geek Unlimited. You can get a hold of us in the following ways. You can leave a voicemail, 502-526-5821. You can get a hold of us on the website, geekcastradio.com, and comment on the episode post. Leave any kind of questions, comments, suggestions, and we'll try and answer them next show, or we'll put them together into a question comment show later on. You can get a hold of us through email, feedback@geekcastradio.com. You can also get a hold of us on Twitter @AlteredGeek. My Twitter handle is @CP21, and yours are, sir.
You too, and Mike.
You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram under Birdman Dodd.
Under or at?
At Birdman Dodd, whatever. I'm everywhere under that name. You cannot escape me.
He's under Birdman Dodd.
Man,
or over.
Man, Harvey must really hate you.
True.
Birdman. Alrighty. So, until next time, get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks.